I'm Jun Cao. I'm working at Neuroscience Research Australia. So Neuro is a research institute focused on brain health and brain disorders. And I'm currently working under the supervision of Professor Caroline Ryan, which is a leading neuroscientist at Neuro. Dementia is a kind of neurodegenerative disease, and actually dementia affects like more than 55 million people worldwide, and including over 433,000 people in Australia. Actually, in Australia, the prevalence of dementia rate is kind of double the global average due to the rapidly aging population. But unfortunately, there is still like a major challenge to detect the early signs of dementia in the early stage, because it will affect like what treatment to be used and what strategies for the patients and their families. As we talk about the dementia, it's very important to detecting the early stage dementia, but it's very challenging. One of the best current imaging modalities is called the FDG-PET, which measures how the brain uses energy. So the pattern of the energy utility will reflect the patterns of the dementia subtypes. FDG-PET scans also, which shows how the brain uses energy, but PET scans are very expensive and need radioactive tracers and are not widely available. So they cannot be used regularly or at a large scale. And my research under the supervision of Professor Caroline Ryan, so is developing a new MRI-based brain scan, which is called magnetic resonance electrical properties tomography, which measures how the electrical signals pass through the brain tissues. And these electrical properties can change over age and also can change induced by the neurological disorders. It's very fast and radiation free. So, and it uses MRI machines already available in many institutions and hospitals. And our early studies show that it can show the patterns induced by, for example, alcohol consumption. And the patterns are very similar to what observed in the FDG-PET scans. So it has the potential to be a new biomarker for brain metabolism, and it can be a potential substitute for FDG-PET scan. So if it is successful, this technique can make like dementia diagnosis and monitoring much safer, faster, and more accessible, which can improve the care for patients and their families. So we mentioned before, the prevalence rate in Australia is kind of double the global average due to the aging population. And FDG-PET scan is the gold standard for dementia diagnosis, but FDG-PET scan is not available in the many regional and remote communities because of the tracers have to be used within some time after production. So the production facility is usually built in large cities. But this, if this MRI scan is successful, as we validated, and it can be used and implemented in many hospitals, because MRI scans are more widely accessible in the remote areas than the PET scans. So it would be very useful for the early diagnosis of the dementia